Alright, last stage. And there's Cherry, but uh-oh, she's in a princess dome, whatever, and we have to face Axel. This Axel fight is actually pretty good, but there's just a couple things that annoy me. For one, you have these lightning fields that slowly close in on you, and they do damage to you. The annoying thing about that is if you hit them, whether you run into them or, you know, you get hurt by them. The strategy I usually do with Axel in this fight is I try to rocket into him and just jump slash him whenever I can. And if he's like that, you can spin attack him. I don't do the spin attack very often against him though, but it actually is probably a good, viable attack option against him. The problem is when you ricochet off of the lightning walls that slowly close in, you get damaged. You can get damaged by them if you touch it at the end of your rocket boost, like right there. So yeah, this fight is a little bit annoying, but it's still pretty good in the sense that, you know, every straight up Axel fight I find is actually really good in their own ways. This one, he's a little bit more of a dick, because he has that smug look on him when he's just flying around like that, and you have these walls that close in. It's like, really? Do you really need these walls closing in? That's a bit of a dick move. Corkscrews, I don't like very much because they'll usually send them careening into the walls like that. But, well, unless you get... rocketing straight up is usually a safe bet. Then you can jump down and slash him, like there. And we get him. And his helmet broken. He's a ginger! But hey, we get his sword. And that actually gives you the last sword. And what do we get for this? Well, we now have the power! And we transform. After this long transformation sequence, we become... Gold Sparkster. And we rocket off into the very last boss, which is, I guess, the king of the Gadol Empire. And look, there's the Princess Dome, and uh-oh. Another imposter, another crossdresser. With Gold Sparkster, he is basically more powerful and his rocket charges up much faster. So with this, you can pretty much just spin attack the boss, and you have to hit him when he's charging up like that. He has 3 different attacks. One of them is he just shoots lightning everywhere. These are fairly easy to dodge. Another attack he does is he just shoots a bunch of meteors. Again, pretty easy to dodge, especially with Gold Sparkster, because you can just sort of just stay to a corner and rocket spin to avoid them. Gold Sparkster also uses his like gold fire or whatever. It's pretty cool. He has a pretty cool jump slash now with it. These are the meteors I was talking about earlier. There's one other attack he does where he uses a black hole, and if you get sucked into it, you actually switch places. Like, you become the boss, and he takes over Sparkster's body. It's actually pretty cool. I haven't really seen that in boss fights. I find that really creative. I don't really show it here, because with Gold Sparkster, you can pretty much just annihilate this guy very quickly. I actually don't do it as quickly as before with this time, but yeah, one hit and he's dead. And that's that. Or is it? What's going on? There's lightning going on, and... oh, no. Yes, this guy has a second form. Wouldn't be a video game boss if he didn't have a second or third form or whatever. You obviously gotta hit the gem in the middle of his eyes and avoid his lasers. I don't avoid the lasers here very well. They're a pretty simple pattern, but I get reckless here, and I just try and keep jump slashing him, but that's obviously not what you're supposed to do. And you can spin attack him and rocket into him, but he has these sets of lasers, but then his second phase here, he shoots them in a set pattern like that, and of course I had to get hit and die. Let's try that again. Oh, and if you die here, you have to fight Axel again. So that's why my lives went down a bit, because Axel didn't get me. You know, because Axel is a dick. The return of the dick, pretty much. But he's not too difficult once you figure out, once you got a set pattern with him down anyway. And this first phase, especially with Gold Sparkster, is really easy. Like, he doesn't even get a second attack out this time. I'll show you. Right there. Bam. You can pretty much just do this first phase without even taking any damage. And now, of course, you have to go through the whole sequence again. Surprised that lightning doesn't hit you, which is good, obviously. Okay, this time I'm gonna just rocket into them. You make sure you bounce away from the lasers so that you don't get hit by them. It's best to be, you know, just to avoid the lasers and not just go all out like I tried to do earlier. Dodging the first set of lasers that go along the walls is a little tricky because you have to like make sure not to ricochet back into them. And these are pretty simple because they just kind of go clockwise. So we just keep rocketing into them, and oh, we got them. And wait for it. Oh, talk about your splitting headaches. Heh. Sorry about that. But now we rescue Cherry and we fly off. After the score total, because, you know, score really matters in this game. If you beat this game on hard, you get an additional cutscene after the one you'll see here. It's basically just, you can look it up on YouTube if you're really curious. It doesn't really amass to much, because it's just bringing Cherry back to the king. That's about it, really. And oh god, I hope none of you have epilepsy. Genesis effects. And yeah, we just go straight to the credits. On hard, you would see the cutscene of Sparkster returning Cherry, but on normal, you can still beat the game with Gold Sparkster and essentially beat the whole game, so that's kind of what I did here. I did try to do this, a run of this on hard. I got up to the third stage, but I already used up a couple continues. I'm just like, oh, this is annoying. Planning, Lucky Jet. Again, with the odd aliases for credit names in old games, and Tat. I hope Dr. Ashens doesn't review it. Heh. So yeah. This game I like, but I'll admit it's not as good as Rocket Knight Adventures. The only issues I had with it was it's harder to control Sparkster in this, because I end up just flying everywhere. He's a little bit hard to control in this. And then there's that weird continue system, because if you say no, you still end up using a continue, but you get the password. It's really messed up. But here I didn't have to, but what the... Lord Unreal? Okay, last time I checked he wasn't a lord, but... And again, we got Super Programmer, and Hanaton will return as Ultra Programmer. So, yeah, this game I still enjoy. You know, it's still a very solid game. You know, good graphics, good music. Controls are alright once you get used to them. Once you get used to how Sparkster flies everywhere when you rock it. The charging up system is pretty... I wouldn't say it's cheap. It's actually... It is designed well in this. And they took some aspects of this game and put it into the new Rocket Knight game, which I actually will Let's Play after the Super Nintendo Sparkster. And speaking of the Super Nintendo Sparkster, that's up next. Excuse me. That's up next, and that one's a bit harder to do because you have to beat the game on hard in order to get a final level. It's like the first Rocket Knight Adventures, only you have to play it on actual hard difficulty to get through the entire game. So, I managed to get through most of the game on hard before, but there's one fight in particular that I can't... That's very difficult. I'll give you a hint. It involves Axel. but we'll see. I'm sure I can work my way around that somehow. And once credits are done, Sparkster goes and returns the sword. Well, a sword. You think he would return all the 7 swords, or however many swords we had to collect, but whatever. So we return the Master Sword, and yay! Little happy face. And that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in Super Nintendo Sparkster. So I'll see you then.